Hope Oliver isn't on our game next Sunday, said David Massey. So I would be astounded if Michael Oliver or Anthony Taylor aren't involved in some way in this game against City next week, whether on VAR or on refereeing duties. Now, we've all calmed down a little bit since the game earlier on, and I want to know what everybody thinks about the decisions in the game. Let's go through them one by one. So, their penalty. I feel like there is more than enough evidence to show that that wasn't inside the box. And I feel like the mental gymnastics of the PGMOL's officials in trying to say there was no conclusive evidence to overturn the referee's decision points to a couple of things. One, a massive flaw in the rules that just gives these officials a get-out-of-jail-free card to not make a decision. And two, if there was doubt about it and Michael Oliver didn't feel that he could conclusively make the call, then why not ask the referee to have another look at it? Again, when Michael Oliver's involved, he doesn't ever seem to want to send the referee to a monitor. Why didn't he ask the referee to have his own look at it? And then we can still have the decision with the referee, but after he gets a second chance. Because I think we can all agree, in real time, in that moment, difficult one for the ref to figure out whether it was in or outside. He had to make a judgment call. So I've got sympathy with the ref on that one. But I've no sympathy with Oliver. I've seen multiple angles that make me feel very comfortable to say that was outside the box. But again, my big question is, why not ask the ref to make his own judgment? If anybody does think that's a penalty, I am truly astounded by what you're watching. Because if you're a Liverpool fan, wow. If you're not a Liverpool fan, I would ask what would you think if it was your team. But there are other incidents in the game I want to talk about. I do feel, and I wouldn't have complained if they got a penalty for the Kelleher challenge. Do you know the one where Kelleher came out into their forward? If that had have been given, I don't think I could have had too many complaints. I do feel like on that one, maybe we got a bit of a rub of a green. The hand on Armstrong, that was a joke. The fact that he went to ground like that, I thought was quite embarrassing, quite frankly. But it does speak to a bigger problem with Canade pushing people. Because you've seen the yellow card that he got in the game. Do you know, and I still haven't seen the handball. Because if you watch any of the content today, I spoke about that penalty and I thought it was for Darwin getting dragged to the ground. And still, you know, I still think that could have been a penalty in its own right. But I haven't actually still seen the handball yet. So I'm still going to see that later on. Shane B said, no conclusive evidence. The same ref who sent Koo to the monitor for the West Ham penalty given against Evans in Eric Ten Hag's last game, Oliver, is a joke. And by the way, Shane is a United fan. So, you know, I had sympathy with Shane for that penalty when it was given against United. And to be fair to Shane and other United fans, they've reached out today again to say that that was absolutely shambolic. Oliver, we've got to be very careful about what we say here. But a lot of the time, he's at the scene of the crime. Whether it be for us or anybody else. And I do not understand, again, how he's getting away with it. No conclusive evidence, me arse, is what I say about that. Because I've seen two angles that show very much it was outside the box. I think the reasoning was that Robbo hit him outside the box and carried on into the box. No, that's not what was said, Muiz. We actually have the statement posted from the match centre. And it was, the referee's call of a penalty for the challenge by Robertson on Dibbling is checked and confirmed by VAR, who deemed there was no conclusive evidence that the contact occurred outside the penalty area. No talk of it continuing into the penalty area. The decision and the reason being was that they couldn't conclusively prove that it was outside, when it was absolutely outside. So yeah, there was none of this carrying on into the penalty area. Nope. The excuse given was no conclusive proof. But look, didn't cost us in the end, despite his best attempts. Dave, how are you, bro? Dave said, it's becoming more of a joke with all Michael Oliver's decisions. I think there's more than meets the eye with him. Do you know, I read a few different outlets today. So I went and had a look at the Athletic comment section around the game. And I was astonished to hear people calling us cry arses and saying it was a nailed on penalty. And again, like I always say, this type of behaviour is what allows these people to feel emboldened to make these potentially season-defining decisions, because they know they're only annoying one set of fans. Unless we come together and call this crap out, united as a group of fans across the board, nothing will change. And today, as I said, it was us. As Shane pointed out with a super chat earlier on, it was United a few weeks ago. we deserve better. The football public deserve better. And some of these decisions are not even close. The handball for Odegaard was never close in games gone past. I can't remember who was in charge of that. But I know Oliver was around when the Doku kick was there into McAllister's chest. Didn't have the bottle to send the ref to the monitor. And that's the thing that worries me most about Michael Oliver on VAR, is that he's just not sending the referees to the monitor. He's making the decision. So, as I said earlier on, that was a difficult call for the referee in real time today. No argument about that. But if Oliver isn't sure, why not ask the ref to have a look? And if the ref doesn't feel like he's sure again, then maybe you got to stick with his on-field decision. But he doesn't do that. He makes the decisions, and then the rest of us have to suffer his consequences. And again, get out of jail free card. When it suits them, clear and obvious, it doesn't matter, does it? When it suits them. When VAR and their mental gymnastics work and they go, oh, there was not enough evidence to overturn it. It's a joke. And the sooner the better we get rid of these clowns, or we start getting better officiating, because it is substandard and it isn't good enough. And I'm never going to accuse somebody of being a blatant cheat in favour of somebody else. But I'm also not going to sit here and just see this every week and not speak up. Gary, how are you, sir? VAR needs to be like rugby. Ref says what he thinks to a TV official. They all look at it and discuss on the screens in the stadium, and we can all hear it. Yep, transparency. And Gary, we know football seems to be afraid of transparency. Absolutely, we should all be hearing what's being said. We should hear the decision making. We should hear the thought process from the VAR. But we don't. And do you know what makes it even worse, Gary? It's the likes of Neville and those guys who aren't calling this crap out and are protecting the officials over and over and over. When the Coote stuff happened, they couldn't rally around quick enough to say, oh, he shouldn't lose his job. He should be just not officiating Liverpool games. Fuck off. You don't think that David Coote, if he wanted to shaft us, could do it not refereeing our games? You don't think he could impact the title race if he so wanted to in another way? You know, let's go back to the Rodri handball incident against Everton. That impacted our title race, but it wasn't in our game. So we need to start being realistic that, yes, there are many honest, sincere referees who go out to do their best. But there are some people who just aren't fit for the job or are making very, very questionable decisions. And then you have the likes of Kyle Walker out complimented Michael Oliver. Say, oh, Ollie, bravery, brave decision. That's why he's the best in England. No, he bottled it. There was no bravery about it. He bottled it. And today, once again, Michael Oliver had to have his name mentioned from what was a fairly straightforward call.